Really quickly before this video gets started, I want to give a shout out to longtime channel sponsor, Logitech G. If you guys are ever in need of any gaming peripherals, you can use the link in the description or use code Timbo at checkout to get a discount on any purchase, including their amazing Superlight 2 mouse, the mouse that I use all the time, and it's now available in cyan. Ooh, right off the bat here, I'm gonna be honest. This was not a video I intended to make. In my last video, I know, shameless plug within the first 5 seconds, talked a lot about the AI/machine learning usage within ARC creators. And in my video, I mentioned that as being a positive thing. I talked about how this usage of technology pushes the industry forward. Little did I know that on nearly the same exact day, Eurogamer would release a review for ARC creators and give it a 2 out of 5, with the main criticism being the usage of AI. Eurogamer's gripe with Embark seemed to mostly be centered around their usage of AI-generated voice lines, where my praise was centered around how they used machine learning to script enemy behaviors and animations. So, not exactly the same thing, but I still want to talk about this. Not only because it's a fascinating discussion topic, but because it opens up a conversation about the growing usage of AI within the gaming industry and other creative fields as a whole, and whether that's ethical or not. Should it be used at all? And if so, where should the line be drawn? These are really important questions because whether you feel indifferent about AI or you hate it in all its forms or, God forbid, ChatGPT is your girlfriend, this is very relevant for game developers, game publishers, and consumers. So let's talk about it. Full disclosure, I don't consider myself to be a news channel. Never have, never will. My channel is a lot more focused on gaming critique, analysis, discussion, a place you may hear a furthermore or something every now and again. We're professionals over here. But for those who are unaware of what's transpired here, allow me to fill you in. Or if you already know everything, feel free to use the timestamps to skip ahead. And of course, if you're an OG of the channel, you already know the format. We're going to be doing this in the tried and true Timbo SparkNotes fashion. On November 10th, Eurogamer released a review for ARC Raiders, giving it a low score of 2 out of 5. Which, yes, people were quick to point out this is a lower score than they gave Concord. Now, sentiment around ARC Raiders is very high, so this score was likely going to spark some controversy anyway. But the reason why ARC Raiders was given a 2 is really what ignited this entire thing. In the article, the author, are they called authors? Whatever. They basically docked the game for Embark's use of AI-generated voice lines, arguing that this practice contradicts the human-driven themes of the game's setting. I'm paraphrasing here, but they made some comments about how ARC Raiders is a game about robots taking over humanity. Meanwhile, Embark is using robots to take over humans' jobs. As you could imagine, this completely blew over and everyone was super chill about it. Maybe on opposite day that would have happened, but this quickly became a rather divisive topic online. Some people were saying Eurogamer is standing up for voice actors and sticking to good ethics. Others were saying this is a total non-issue. AI is part of the gaming space now. It's not that deep. And others are fine with what Eurogamer said, but think it would have been better placed in an opinion piece rather than a review, and that it was wrong to let this affect the score of the entire game. What's interesting to me is, despite this getting a lot of attention, it's actually not the first time Embark has done this, and I'll elaborate on that more in a second. Embark has stated that ARC Raiders doesn't use generative AI for content, but instead relies on machine learning models to modulate pre-recorded human voice samples to produce new dialogue lines. Now you're probably asking yourself, what does this mean? Or if you grew up Lutheran like me and had a catechism, you're probably singing it. A very small subset of people watching this will probably get that joke, but I'm keeping it in here anyway. This basically means that Embark had paid human actors to record a base set of lines, and then AI was used to build upon that, expanding the original performances into additional, generated in-game dialogue. So it's a combination of recording lines from the real actors, then using that to create more with their voices. Embark has emphasized that the AI-generated voices were based on recordings from the professional voice actors, and that this approach enabled them to tailor voiceovers for dynamic in-game situations, without the lengthy process of scheduling additional recording sessions with the human actors. They've said their goal isn't to replace human actors, but to use AI as a tool to supplement their audio production, especially for lines that need rapid iteration and contextual adaptation. As I alluded to before, Embark has already done this with their other game, The Finals, where the commentators Scotty and June were created in this same way. This is perhaps an imperfect example, but if we think of sports games for a moment, instead of EA bringing in Mike Tirico to record 1,000,000 lines for Madden and continue to come in to record more and more lines over the course of the NFL season, they could get approval from Mike Tirico to use AI to generate more dialogue using his voice, meaning that his commentary in Madden could better understand the context of each game because, let's be honest, commentary in sports games usually don't seem to always get excited when they should or know everyone's name on the field. It usually doesn't take very long before you hear the same lines over and over again. Using AI means that context can theoretically be processed in real time to deliver accurate and, as ironic as it sounds, more realistic commentary, and additional lines can be added to discuss real NFL news while the season unfolds, all without ever needing Mike to come in for another recording session. This concept I just described is how a lot of people seem to think Scotty and June work within the finals, but to my understanding, this is not correct. Instead of being fully contextually aware and generated in real time, like the example I gave with a theoretical future version of Madden or what Darth Vader was in Fortnite earlier this year, the finals and Arc Raiders use a system similar to sports games or Lord Shaxx or something like that in Destiny multiplayer, where pre-recorded lines are triggered to play based on specific in-game events. It's just that some of those lines were created with AI using the real voice actor's performance as the base. This hopefully clears up some confusion because one sentiment I've heard from people with the finals is that if Scotty and June are AI, why don't they do more? Why don't they say your username or something cool like that? They don't because the lines are still pre-recorded. It's just that with it being a live service game that's constantly adding new mechanics and modes, some additional lines were made with the help of AI. At least, based on the research I've done, that appears to be how they work. There is no public source that definitively claims the commentary is dynamically generated during the match. Instead, their wiki, for example, reads that, quote, the commentators provide live updates to matches, including changes to leading teams, team wipes, game show events, and more. And when asking Embark specifically, in an article from PC Gamer, they replied that the studio uses, quote, a mix of recorded voice audio and audio generated via text-to-speech tools, depending on the context. So to me, that sounds more like it works how it does in sports games and a lot of arena shooters, Destiny, Halo, etc. But feel free to make of that what you will. Obviously, everyone is entitled to their own opinion. Everyone has a right to share those opinions and have their voice be heard. Maybe that's not obvious, but that's how it should be. Despite having a bit of a platform, my opinion is not more valid than anyone else's, so feel free to put your own in the comments. But this is my channel and my video, so here's my take. I think AI usage within video games and creative fields as a whole is a real slippery slope. I also think AI is inevitable and very powerful, with the potential to enhance productivity and simplify complex tasks. With that being said, I take little to no issue with Embark's usage of AI in the finals and in Arc Raiders. As long as human voice actors are the base, as long as they consent to this, and as long as they are compensated, I don't see what the problem is. As long as AI is being used as a supplemental tool and not as the creator itself, I see it as fine. So for example, if I, when writing this script, use AI to help me do research about the topic, I see that as it being used as a tool. I think that's okay. But if I type into ChatGPT, hey, go write my script for me, and then I just record all of that generated text word for word into the mic, that's a different story. That is now it being the creator. I don't know how many of you follow sports like myself and saw this recently, but Stephen A. Smith was under some heat a couple weeks ago after being involved in what looked to be a completely AI-generated solitaire gambling ad. This thing had so much uncanny valley in it, I couldn't even tell if Stephen A. himself was real or not. It was real bad, and came at a horrible time after what happened with Chauncey Billups. This is an example of how to not use AI, in my opinion, and I see a clear difference between something like this and how Embark uses AI. And to be quite honest, if EA made the version of Madden where Mike Tirico's real voice is used, but it's context aware and generated in real time, I would probably be fine with that too. I actually think that's kind of cool. Now, you can make the case that this sort of contradicts my last statement because such an implementation could fall under the AI is creating this category, opposed to the AI is a tool category. But I'm interested to hear where you guys would draw the line on that sort of thing. I mainly want to avoid the lazily generated, poor quality AI slop that replaces real people. After I finished the initial draft of this script, Black Ops 7 released, appearing to have AI art in it, and I would also put that in the bad category. I'm a firm believer that just about anything could be used for good or evil purposes. You can use a shovel to clear out your elderly neighbor's driveway in the winter, or beat someone to death with it. There are ways AI can be used to make games worse, but there are also ways to use AI to make games better. You can use AI to replace people, or you can use it to increase their productivity, do things that weren't possible before. It just needs to be used responsibly, which again is in and of itself a topic to debate, right? What is considered to be a responsible usage of AI within game development? But for the case of the finals and art creators, I think this is fine, and this whole thing has been a bit overblown. But I'm interested to know what you guys think. Is Embark's usage of AI ethical? Was Eurogamer in the right for allowing their views on this to affect the review score? Or should opinions like this be placed in separate articles, not tied to reviews? Where should the line be drawn? Let me know down in the comments. If you enjoyed the video, letting me know by leaving a like is always greatly appreciated. For more content like this every week, make sure to subscribe. Thank you all so much for watching, and as always, I'll see you in the next one.